This is a quick, hopefully 5-minute overview of how to use Pear Deck. As you can see here, Pear Deck is used to create simple and instructionally effective lessons for Google Slides. Basically, any Google Slides you have, Pear Deck has certain interactive features that it can add to each slide that will allow your students to give responses, and then you can see the responses on the screen. Pear Deck has its own website that you can use to look for files you have in your drive or any open sessions you have. And a session is when you launch a presentation. If you don't finish it in that class, you can always open it up later on and have the students work on it another day. So as a demo, I put together a little PowerPoint on it. So when you come into Google Slides, once you have downloaded and added Pear Deck, you would go to Add-ons and then Pear Decks, and this is where you would then open your Pear Deck add-on. Looking at this, you can then see on the right-hand side a variety of options. So I've taken some options from a template that they have for different activities. So they have examples that you might want for the beginning of lesson, the end of lesson, and then some suggestions of how you could use it in different languages, different subjects. Or you can just use any of their basic ones. So they have a text option where students will type an answer. Choice, you can put in multiple choice questions. Number option, a website where they'll have access to a website all within the presentation. They can draw or drag along. So if you already have your slides made, you can just click on the slide and then choose what you want to add on. So if I want to add on a text, it will then take a second. And then all of a sudden, this text is going to be interactive when you launch with Pear Deck. Okay, so you'll see that this now has popped up at the bottom. Once you have your slide together and you're ready to present, you would then click Start Lesson, which I've already done, which brings me as my presentation screen here. So this is what you'd have on your computer if you're projecting to a screen, or if you have a smartboard and you're logged in, you might be able to present right from here. Students need to go to joinpd.com and they put in a specific code that's been loaded up for your presentation. This is what the students would see. They put in their code and I'll ask them, how are they doing? They'll kind of have a bit of a check-in. So if you ask students to fill this in, you can get a quick check-in to see how are they doing emotionally. So if a kid has really bad or good, this is something to take note of. Once you're in, I can now see that I have one student connected, so I know all of my kids are in. So I can close this in my Pear Deck demo. So the slide will present at the top for the kids. They will have the topic here. And then the other option you can have is a dashboard. What the dashboard does is it allows you to have a bit more control and you can see student answers. Suggestion would be if you have a second device to use the dashboard. So if you're just projecting to a screen, you can use an iPad that you can get from ICT, or if you're able to use a smartboard to project by logging in, and then you can use your laptop as a secondary device. If I move my floating head over here, I can now control and move to the next option. And it says it's waiting for responses. So this has told me that none of the students have started to answer a response. On the main screen, at the front of the classroom, what did you learn from the homework? And then as a student, I will see I have my options to type in everything from the homework. I can now see that I've put in an answer. And if I want, I can show responses that will then pop up on the main screen. I can hide responses. So again, this will be the main projection. Or I can choose to lock screens. Lock screens is great if you have students who you don't think are on task, because all of a sudden they can't do anything else. And as you change the slides on your dashboard, the students' laptops will change along with it. So you have total control. As we go through, we saw a text. There's also a dragging option. And then you would want to go show responses. And then on the screen, it will show this. You can choose to either show the answers one at a time, or there's an option where you can show them all at once, so you can get a general overview how many kids felt the assignment was good and how many was bad, or how many need revision. Each aspect has different ones. So again, I could use it for math by putting in mathematical equations. There's a draw feature where students get to use a pencil, a highlighter. They can do lines, they can write in text, they can make it bigger and smaller, and they can change their colors. So I can do my drawing as I need to. When you first do this, kids will draw all over the place, but then once you lock the screen and then you can present answers, it generally tends to stop students from being too silly. So again, there's a drag the dot option where I can say, okay, I think it's going to be winter here. On my dashboard here, I'm able to see who's answering what question. And I can give a grid layout so I know that I've answered, or I can do an overview and I'll be able to see all the students' answers at once. Then I can show my responses and it will pop up on the front of the screen. A cool feature with this is you can add in a website for students to be able to go to. So they'll have the slide on the left, and if they need to make it bigger, they can, so they can read the instructions. Or you can have it smaller, and then they can go through the website on the right. So you can ask them to read something, to find something, and it's all in one spot. They don't have to go anywhere else. And then again, there's a text option, so you can post questions. What's really cool about the dashboard, if you have it on a secondary device, is you can see all of your students and what they're saying, so you can give immediate feedback right away. As opposed to Google Docs or slides where you have to kind of jump into each student's document to see what they're doing. You see it all in one spot. So you can be highlighting certain areas, identifying what students are doing right or what they're doing wrong. Once you finish all of it and you click End, you can name it as a session, demo, save and end, and then it will allow you to publish the takeaways. What this will look like is each student will get a Google Doc with all of the slides, and then next to the slide will be their responses.